So I've had the Blackmagic Pocket 4K cinema camera for a couple of weeks now, and if there's one cool aspect that I've been dying to test out, it is the low light capabilities. You see, my last camera, the Blackmagic Production 4K, only had 3 ISO options. That was 200, 400, and 800, and at 800 it is total garbage because Blackmagic had a major issue with fixed pattern noise, which basically meant instead of regular grain, nice looking noise, if that's a thing, it was like these lines, kind of like when a TV is losing its signal, and it was just terrible and really hard to fix in post. So I've been excited when I was waiting for my Blackmagic to come in, checking out a bunch of low light tests, and I saw that, the new sensor, or the dual sensor native ISO, was perfect at 1250, which is what I shoot at most of the time. But this 25,600 setting has been kind of lurking there, and I wanted to see what is the worst case scenario where you have to put this camera at 25,600 ISO. Can you get a usable image out of that? And just in a second, we're going to be diving deep into DaVinci. I just ran out and filmed a bunch of sequences for us to check out. And in addition to just are they good out of the camera, can you do anything quickly in DaVinci Resolve to make them look even better and reduce noise while not getting that silly like oil painting look to it? So without any further ado, let's jump into the footage. Alright, so now that we have all the footage imported into DaVinci Resolve, we're going to take a look at just how usable the footage is at ISO 25,600 on the Blackmagic Pocket 4K, and we're going to be seeing how easy it is to clean up with some different denoisers that are built into DaVinci. Now, when I first am scrubbing through this footage, it is very obvious that it's extremely noisy. If we make this full screen here, hopefully you guys can see the detail, and YouTube compression doesn't suck so hard. But yeah, this is the definition of noise right here. Some of them aren't too bad. Now, some of them have some pretty gnarly color distortion. Obviously, we can see down here, but it's still holding very well. Even in this, there's a lot of obvious artifacting from different colors spilling into here. Let's go to some of these interior shots, but it's really not bad by any stretch of the imagination. I've seen my old production 4K at 800 ISO was terrible, so for me this is a dream. All right, so this was literally me just holding the camera out on a glide cam type thing. This is the raw image, and this isn't bad at all. I can already tell with the denoiser that this is going to be totally usable. So let's actually jump in to the colorizer here, and I'm just going to do some real quick color correcting, and let's see if we can save this. I'm going to do it in pretty much 3 steps. So the final one, I always use this RE Rec 709. I like it. Obviously this is a raw clip, so it's always good to shoot raw. Now, if you know my style, I like things pretty cool, so I'm going to definitely go on the cooler side. Now, one thing to note here is normally with the raw settings, you can go in and change the ISO in here. So if you accidentally shot at a improper or undesirable ISO, you can change that after the fact. But unfortunately, what I discovered is if you shoot at 25,600, that is your only option. I don't know if it's on a totally different sensor, because I did learn that, there are 2 basically ISO sensors, I don't know what you call them, that trip at 1250. So if you're 1,000 and below, you're on the first sensor, and if you're 1250 and up to a certain amount, which I will do a test to see how high it goes before you can't change it. So that is a bit unfortunate. So if you do accidentally set it to 25,600, you are stuck there, and you'll have to do some other fancy tricks to get it to be okay. But anyway, let's get back to the grade here. I'm okay with some of these highlight corrections, and I'm going to go to the second node here, and we're going to go to the actual temporal noise reduction. The spatial noise reduction, I believe, is if you have a clip that is a lot of very high moving things. But what I have found in my limited testing so far is that is the type of noise reduction that makes it extremely blotchy. So if I go in here, I crank this up, as you can see, it gets really, that almost looks like an oil painting. I don't like that. So what I really like is the temporal noise reduction, which the frames basically, again, all this stuff I've played around with, so I found what works for me. Play around with you. I'm going to go 5 frames, and then what I'm going to do is pretty much crank this. And you can see it definitely softens it a bit, but it's still not terrible. Now, this is not rendered out, so it is optimized media, so it's not going to look as good, but it's definitely a lot better. If I turn this node off, don't look pretty good beforehand. Let's see another one real quick. So I wanted to see this clip, how it would turn out. So I'm going to do the same thing, add a couple nodes, add the RE log. It's already looking better there. Could change the white balance, but for now I'm just going to do denoiser, same trick, 5 frames. That looks a lot better. Obviously it's still noisy, but for 25,600, the max ISO for this thing rendered out, I think this is totally usable footage. And yeah, if you guys don't believe me, I'm going to edit a slice together, a little montage here to some music, and all of these will be to the best that I can get them. So they will have noise reduction, they will be color corrected, but it will give you an idea of how usable you can get night footage out of the Pocket 4K. So enjoy.